Bismillah, Alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah, it's your brother Amir. And I'd like to welcome you to The Perspective. Got another big episode with somebody I definitely have a lot of respect for, my fellow Harlemite. You know what I'm saying? We got a lot of commonalities in our life that we share. It's just an honor for me to have him on the show. My brother, Mendeecees Harris.
What's up, Loon?
What's
What's
going on?
good, bro? Not you chilling, man. I'm happy to be here, man. We finally making this happen.
Yeah, I mean, we've been trying to get this done for a second, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But the beautiful thing is that, things happen for a reason and everything falls in place, and it's like you can only be grateful, you know. You can only be grateful that the journey has finally made its headway, and like alhamdulillah, we sitting here doing what we do offline,
right,
but
right,
giving the people, the viewers, the opportunity to see, how men
right.
interact with one another.
Anytime we get on the phone, time just work against us. We'll be on the phone for an hour or
Yeah,
2 hours and can't get off the phone just talking about everything. So
yeah,
now we get a chance to have people to see what some of the things we be talking about in our
absolutely.
commonality and how our lives just resemble each other.
Nah, that's the truth. But what's funny is like, I know for sure what it's like to be looked at one dimensionally. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? My career, I did a lot of songs for the girls and stuff like that, and people just kind of like that didn't know me. We ain't talking about the people in Harlem and other inner cities around the, around the country, but it's like the people that didn't know, they only looked at me one way.
Right.
So I want to give you an opportunity, to reintroduce yourself. You know what I'm saying? Who is Mendeecees Harris?
That's you know what, that's a great question, right? Because I spent so much time, right, trying to answer that question, right? Because if I back then, if you would have asked me who was that, I would just be like, man, a fly dude from Harlem, dress nice, drive nice cars. But those are the things that I was influenced by,
Hmm.
and by the people I was influenced by. But when you really get down to who's Mendeecees, he's a loving, caring father, loving, caring son, loving, caring husband, and really just strive to be like a good person, and also to just step out some of my fears and have a personality and,
Hmm.
and, and just enjoy life, and I'm like, just be high off life.
Yeah. So speaking of life, like, what was life like for Mendeecees Harris growing up in Harlem?
Well, growing up in Harlem, I grew up in the 80s in Harlem in Scenic Projects,
Hmm.
West Side Harlem. Look, I say that with proud. I'm proud where I grew up at. And
Yeah.
for me, growing up in the 80s, I started out with both parents, and then the crack had hit Harlem, and then it went from both parents to one parent to no parents,
Mm.
and my grandmother had to step in, my aunts had to step in for some at some point in my life, and then I, just like the other kids, was influenced by the activities that went outside our door,
Yeah.
and not having the guidance to look over after us. We just participated in, the daily activities that the underworld took part in.
It's crazy. Like, I travel the world and I talk to a lot of young kids in general, but specifically a lot of Muslim kids. And the uniqueness about those lectures, I always start off with gracefully and like using wisdom to expose their condition. So I'd be like, yo, raise your hand. How many of y'all were born and raised Muslim? And like 98% of them raise their hand. I mean, how many of y'all was raised with both y'all parents in the house? Like 90%
Did
of
you
raised.
get did you get that from that college? Because I seen a video, right, where
Mm-hmm.
a college professor did that to like a Harvard student because they started talking about how uh the blacks are progressing in they started
Now I
talking
did
about,
it based on
and,
my understanding of that particular
and
demographic.
it went viral. And because she
Yeah,
was like, how many of y'all come from two parent household, and then this, and
yeah,
she broke it down and tried to
yeah. That's
show
an
that this,
assessment. That's just
you know
basically assessment.
and it
So
went
like, if
kind
you know that is a group of kids out there in abundance, a group of kids that actually grow up with structure. But a lot of them is falling into the influences that we didn't have an opportunity to choose our environment. They do. So when I ask this question, it's only for them to be able to see, you know what I'm saying, in real time who they are. So this process eliminates excuses. So if you were born and raised Muslim, that means you were taught certain values in your home. You had both your parents, 98% of them raised their hand. I might ask how many of y'all had a single parent. You might get one or two, three kids out of 400 or 500 that may be present. And then I say how many like me was raised with no parents. I'd be the only person holding my hand. So the reason why I brought that up is because the commonality of single parent homes, no parent homes, grandparents raising kids of their kids. This is something common in Harlem. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And we've normalized it to where we don't even question it. We don't criticize it. We don't critique it. We don't, you know, make fun of each other
Mm.
because you only got one parent. You know what I'm saying? Because to have one in a land where a lot of kids don't have none, you know, you kind of look, you know, you winning.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's really where it comes from. And I think that anybody that tries to do a psych evaluation of any type of audience, that's a process of assessment. So yeah, I actually derived that from just understanding the people I was sitting in front of and how can I cut right in without being cliche or without having to go through some unnecessary formality. It's like let's just cut right to it.
Right.
How many of y'all, you know what I'm saying? And it does a great job of, you know, opening the door. So yeah, so life in Harlem. So the thing is, we grew up in a generation that's totally different from this generation. But I think the result of a lot of things that transpire in this generation comes from fatherless homes. And we see this all throughout the internet. You know, plenty of people just posting
Hmm.
different statistics, things that, you know, basically equate into certain numbers, effects, and all of that
Yeah,
stuff.
I seen one that said, kids that's growing up without fathers is likely to go to prison.
Yeah,
They said, well, kids are likely not to go to prison if they just had their father.
yeah,
So, those are stats that I've seen, and I say, you know what, I don't know what support that, but I can see that the father installed the structure in the house, and the father, just, you know, a boy having a mother, you're gonna try to get over.
yeah,
She ain't gonna be able to read you like your father read
yeah,
you
no
because he
question.
he was once you.
No question.
You know what I'm saying?
I think by nature, women are nurturers. You know what I'm saying? They nurturers. So no matter how old a son is, they always want to be that place of refuge where you could just come and unpack emotionally.
Right.
Men, we don't have that liberty. You know what I'm saying? We got to go out and face the world every day. We got to conceal our emotions. We got to
Right.
fight through adversity. So we instill the same thing in our sons. It's like, yo, what you making that face for? What you
Right.
crying for?
Right.
Man, fix your
Right.
face, man. Fine. It's like we do that not to be mean, but to just prepare them for what it's
Right.
like to be a man in this society. So you know, I'm definitely sure there is some validity to those statistics, but I think that in this day and age, with this, you know, competitiveness between men and women, when some women are successful at filling that void, they kind of make it seem like that's something that's normal.
Right.
It's not normal. You know, you're just one of a few, you know what I'm saying, or, you know, small ratio of women that's successful in bringing the boy up in the environment, you know what I'm saying, that requires him to be a man. So tell me how not having your father around first, because he was the first to leave, right?
I think it's crazy. They both left together. It's really
Uh,
like I think my mom left first, and then my stepfather left like maybe a few weeks,
wow,
like a few weeks after her.
wow,
So then the family fell apart.
wow. So you now being a father,
Right.
you know, how does that experience affect the
The way a parent.
way you parent? Yeah,
I think for me, I make sure that I be the guidance and I be the one that's influencing my kids, right? And I be trying to lead by an example. So because kids listen to what they don't listen to what you say, they do as you do,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they constantly watching out of curiosity, and just by showing them, how to be productive and how to make decisions, and even showing them what wrong decisions are, what they look like. Is easy, especially out here. I can easily show them what they can turn out if they made this wrong decision, because I got a lot of bad examples for that. You know what I'm trying to say? So I could point to someone and say, no disrespect to the people that smoke weed, but I can try to use it as shock value to tell my son, look, he ain't got no teeth. Well, you know how he ain't got no teeth? Because he smoked mad blunts, you know what I'm saying? And they be like,
Yeah.
for real? And I'm like, look, I bet you his breath stink, And I'm not saying everybody smoke
Yeah,
weed,
yeah,
breath
yeah, yeah. I
stink,
know
or
what you're
whatever the
doing.
case may
Yeah.
be. But for me, if I have to use
Yeah,
that,
no question.
they ain't never seen me smoke or do drugs. So
Yeah.
they like,
So he looking
man,
at your
yeah.
teeth like, yo,
I think I had a proud moment one day when my son's school called and she was like, I just want to let you know you're doing a great job raising your son, because all the kids on the bus was smoking weed except for your son. And they asked him, why you didn't smoke? He said, because my dad don't smoke. I never seen him smoke, so I don't smoke.
yeah,
And when the teacher told me that, it was just like, I was so happy that my son was not a follower.
no question. That's
So
that. that
now I'm like, I'm the first one to have the influence on him. Now that was like, matter of fact, like 2 or 3 years ago. Now I'm watching the rappers taking over his having this influence on to the way he dressed, the way he
yeah,
talked. And I'm like, yo, bro, you don't talk like that. Come on,
yeah.
fix your
Well, that's the
words.
thing, man. There's a second set of parents out there, and I think that they're more corrupt than the second set of parents that we ran into in our generation. You know what I'm saying? Because it was obvious, with that second set of parents wanted to use or exploit us for. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? But in this day and age, it's so many different levels to the influences out
Yeah,
there.
but you gotta think about it. Our era coming up. Our rappers wasn't talking about so much of using drugs, popping
Yeah, nah.
pills, and I'm on the Xanny, I'm on this, I'm on
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
and this
yeah,
and
yeah,
that.
yeah.
We didn't have that. People was real like lyricists. They
Yeah.
was spitting bars, and a lot of time it was storytelling. It was talking fly, wearing Biggie came up in Coogis and
Yeah.
this and that and this. They wasn't the drug abusers.
Nah.
You know what I'm saying? They was the distributors, probably pharmaceutical
Yeah, yeah,
company, but
yeah.
they wasn't the users.
Yeah. But it was
Now,
with
yeah,
purpose though. Yeah.
now the rappers are the users. They the abusers. So it's like
Yeah.
they influencing people that is okay, basically, to do drugs.
Yeah.
And I just be trying to tell them, listen, don't listen to them, man.
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to one of my brothers about some of the young kids that actually influenced me in this generation. And one of them was the kid Lil Yachty. Cause I don't listen to music. You already
Hmm.
know I haven't listened to music and
I
like,
like him.
yeah.
I
I'm gonna
think I
tell
like,
you
yeah,
why I like
I
him.
like his personality, and
Yeah.
I like his stage performance. I think he got great character on stage and on social media. That he's just, he's
I
fearless.
like him because he had a very, very intense interview with Joe Buttons. You know what I'm saying? Like, Joe Buttons. Shout out to Joe Buttons. Joe Buttons could be, regular Joe Buttons, excessive Joe Buttons, but in this particular setting, like he was really putting the press on the kid, and the kid never got belligerent. He never got disrespectful. He kept his composure through the whole duration of the interview, and I seen that, and I was like, man, if
Was
there's,
he asking him some tough questions?
well, I think that he was kind of like imposing maybe some feelings he had towards his record company or people he was affiliated with, and kind of like made dude the recipient of it.
Right.
And the way he repelled, he was like, bro, you know what I'm saying? I went to college. Like, you don't even see me out here like talking. It's like, yo, if they let me be the ambassador for Nordica, like I'm a black dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, what's wrong with like just giving me my flowers? Like it was like he was gracefully demanding the respect that a man would demand when he knows that he's doing, a good job at what he's doing. And it made me feel hopeful because, like, I look at the state of the youth, I look at everything they into, and I seen this kid, and it was like a ray of light for me. I was like, yo, it's hope for this generation. If you got a few more kids like him that literally pride themselves on conducting themselves a certain way, regardless of what his affiliation is, regardless of what record label he is, regardless of what dudes he may be surrounded by professionally, the way he conducts himself as an individual, that did some amazing stuff for me. And
That's
inshallah,
dope. Yeah,
I would
that's
hope to
dope.
definitely have him on the
I'm a,
show.
listen. Yeah, I'm gonna watch that so I can see what you're
Yeah, and that
talking
was
about.
amazing. So yeah, back to, like, we talk about a lot of things, and you know the commonalities we share. So just so the people know, all right, we both born and raised in Harlem. You know what I'm saying? We both had our stints in the street. You know, we both did Fed time. We both married with
Right.
children. I think the only thing that's different is, I'm Muslim, you're not. And it's amazing how, like you said, we can be on the phone for hours talking about numerous
Right.
things.
Let me put this on airplane mode.
Yeah. So I think my question to you is this.
Hold on. Let me just put this on airplane mode. There you go.
Based on the state of the youth and everything that you try to instill in your child, if it was one thing in particular, you wanted to advise your child and other kids like your child, what would you advise them to do?
The number one thing I would say, don't be a follower.
Okay.
Right. Don't follow trends. Create your own trend. Do what you feel is in your heart and what you feel like is the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like have some that integrity to do the right thing. Like in not the right thing that I may want you to do, but the right thing that you feel is right. In that independent space of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So if it's in your heart to do something, it's like basically giving my son a career path. You don't do what I want you to do.
Yeah.
Do something that you love,
Yeah.
that you might want to see yourself doing. And I just try to create him to learn how to think on his own
Mm-hmm.
and make his own decisions and just be there to guide him, but it's ultimately his decision, and he's gonna have most of his life, the majority of his life, being an adult,
Yeah.
and without me, than he have with me as him being a kid and having that type of guidance.
I've always told my son and just all my kids to be better than me.
Of course.
Be better than me. And I'm gonna be like, it's amazing because my son struggled that. One of my sons, he struggled with that, and I didn't even know until he wrote me one day in prison. He was like, Dad, you always told me to be better than you, but the way I see you, you know what I'm saying, is like you like my hero. You like everything to me, and I can't see myself being better than that. And I had to clarify. I didn't even want to write him back. I had to call. I had the phone immediately. I said, listen, what I was trying to tell you is, when I tell you be better than me, you already are. He's like, what you mean? I said, when I was your age, the stuff I was out here doing, I was going down a path of gradual destruction. You are completely removed from that path at your age now. You know what I'm saying? The mistakes I had to make to become the man that I am, I'm here so that you can learn from those mistakes and make better
Right.
decisions than me. So when I say be better than me, you understand? I
Hmm.
mean be better in the sense of capitalizing off of the things that I did good, avoiding the things that I made choices that were wrong, and until eventually you'll be a better man than I ever was, right? So it's crazy. I was watching this clip on Instagram. There was a dude saying it was a clip where it was saying the only man.
I
You
saved
seen
that.
that
I
joint,
seen
right?
that.
Yo, I thought that was a
Yo,
dope
listen,
statement.
I saved that because I wanted to do a video with me and my kids and say the only man that wants you to be better than him is gonna be your
It's gonna
father.
be your father.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Listen, that's a powerful statement and a true
Powerful statement.
statement.
Yeah.
It's one of the truest statement that you know.
Cause we'll be competitive with other dudes,
Yeah,
but when it comes
absolutely.
to your son, it's like you ain't even trying to compete with your
Right,
son. It's like, yo,
right.
I want you to beat me. Like I want you to be better
So
than me.
so my son always play. He think he's a ladies' man, and he be like, he got the little
With
girls
Lil
in his
Mendeecees.
comment. Yeah, so he be like, Dad, I'm way handsome than me, and I'm like, you should be, you should be. He said, I'm way handsome than you was, and I'm happy I did that. I'm like, you know who did that, right? Like but you know where you came from, and I'll be looking down, like you know where you came from, right, boy? I'm like, you came from me,
You
so you
stupid.
my creation. I created something
Subhanallah.
better than me. So you're supposed to be more handsome than me. You're supposed to be smarter than me, more personality. You're supposed to have
He definitely more
everything.
athletic than you.
Definitely that. He
Yeah.
beat you on ball,
No, he
right?
ain't
He
beat
ain't
me.
beat you.
He threatened me.
Oh, okay.
He challenged me.
Okay.
He even talked about putting up his bread and all that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and I told him what? I'm gonna get my son.
Yeah. Listen, I tell him, listen, I ain't have time to play ball. I was giving off them packs.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you had time to play ball and be a kid. You're blessed.
yeah,
Enjoy that. Enjoy your childhood. You only get it once.
yeah.
Enjoy it. And and I'm happy I could provide that. And I can't say I wish someone provide that for me because I wouldn't know how it would have been turned out.
Yeah,
I could have been watered down.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I could have
yeah,
been sitting here. I could not even been sitting here.
yeah. Now that's one of the things I always respect and appreciate about you is that, like I said, I was alluding to about kind of being typecast. People only see me one way. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
So when you think about Mendeecees Harris, you know what I'm saying, in the reality TV space, people only getting a glimpse of just one dimension of
right,
who you are. And I think on social media, people get an opportunity to see how you is with your kids and stuff
right.
like that. And these are qualities that get overlooked. Because the one thing about, the impact of the image that we put forth professionally,
Hmm.
every now and then you get spurts of things that actually exceed that,
Right.
but people don't really pay attention to it.
For me, right, I get a lot of DMs and a lot of messages from just I can't even say young black males. I'm gonna say males in general, just saying like I'm proud of you. That I learned so much from just watching you and watching your transition, how you changed your life and seeing you with your family and seeing you with your kids and your wife, made me want to change. You inspire me in so many ways, and it's just like, and I'm like, damn, I did like how because I wasn't trying to inspire nobody. I was just living my
Trying to live,
purpose and
yeah,
living my life.
absolutely.
And I guess that it comes a time when people see you doing it, it gives them hope that if you can do it, they can do it. So those are the examples that people just need to see. And I always say, before when we grew up, it was no internet.
Yeah,
We only seen what was in our environment.
yeah,
We
that's
never
it.
seen nothing out of that. Like
Yeah,
most of the guys never been on planes or
yeah,
never been out of certain boroughs
yeah.
to understand, that what life has to offer.
Yo, check this out. This your brother Amir, formerly known as Loon. In this episode of Perspective Podcast, sponsored by Paid Mills, the Pay It Forward mobile application coming soon. For those of y'all that don't know, Paid Mills is one of the most trusted companies when it comes to giving back to people in need and combating hunger and food insecurity on a major scale. Since 2019, we've been successful by partnering with grocery stores, restaurants, food trucks, food carts, certified private chefs, and a host of nonprofit organizations throughout the nation and around the world. So if you're interested in joining us in this fight against hunger and food insecurity, you can visit us at www.paidmills.com and you can register as a contributor, a receiver, or a participating vendor. The Paid Mills 2.0 mobile application coming soon, December 2023. Inshallah. So without no further delay, let's get back to the Perspective Podcast. Enjoy the show.
So for when I started posting pictures with my family and I just started posting the things that I love to do and how I spend my time, I'm pretty sure that it helps and shape that young person mind to be like, yo, I want to be a family. I want to step up to the plate.
Yeah.
I want to be a great dad. And even to people that never had a dad,
Yeah.
they need to see people involved in a child's life. That's cool. That's a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
That's the most rewarding feeling that you can ever get, is
Absolutely.
being involved in your child, and that's the best investment.
And it's priceless.
Yeah, the best investment you can ever
Yeah,
make.
it's priceless.
Like, it's unconditional love.
And it's sad because I ain't gonna lie, like growing up, you know, I was always taught that a father was just a provider.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And a
I
lot of
still know
us,
people like that.
yeah, nah,
They just dish the money.
yeah,
And my friend, I mean, my son have friends, and because we sit down, we talk, we always talk, right?
yeah,
And he always we tell each other stories. I tell him my crazy heyday stories, and they be like, they scared him and shit like that. And
yeah.
I love to tell them how blessed they are
Yeah.
right now, right? And he tell me his stories, and he tell me like, yeah, I was hanging out with one of my friends, and he was like, the thing he said is, my friend told me, yeah, my dad just sent money. I don't really see my dad. I just love him because he sent money. But
Yeah.
if what he said, when he don't send money, now he said, I never see him. And he was like, you okay with that? He was like, that's our relationship. He was like, how about you? He said, that's not my relationship. I'd rather my dad spend time with me.
Yeah. So based on that, I gotta ask you because it seems like this situation just doesn't want to go away.
Right.
You know, and it is the circumstances revolved around all of these children. That my boy, shout out to Nick Cannon, that Nick Cannon is having all these children, and I think everybody's been chiming in, giving their perspective on how his arrangement or situation is. So for me and you, and I'm gonna let you go first. You know what I'm saying? For me and you, not having that father around and having to find other male figures, you know what I'm saying, to gravitate to or to learn from and so on and so forth. What's your perspective on, Nick having all these children? Do you believe that, because he's financially capable, that is a cool thing to have all these children and just be able to provide for them? Or do you believe that the time that's needed to spend with all of these kids justly and evenly, you know what I'm saying, is more important?
I mean, I'm always gonna say the time is important, right? But I don't know Nick's situation,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I don't know, because I'm pretty sure he has a plan, and he just ain't do what people just perceived him to do, just
Yeah,
plant babies everywhere. As a me, the way I perceived him to be smart,
yeah,
right? And
definitely.
and I believe he should be able to make his own decisions as what he's comfortable to live in that space. So I can't say that he's in LA and started a village around him. We don't know who's spread out, where everybody live, because if they live in that proximity,
Mhm.
every kid could be dropped off every weekend, and he works.
Yeah,
So I don't know his situation, but from the outside looking in, I always see him with his children. He always
yeah,
posts
nah, definitely.
with his children. He always seemed like an active dad, and he's very boisterous in our community,
Yeah, nah,
and
yeah.
so he's in
Nick
tune.
in Harlem.
Yeah, so at the same times, right? If you got time to take on, what the social injustice, then you got time to be with your children.
Yeah,
And and then again, this is what I just perceive from watching from the outside in, is he look involved.
yeah,
So when people start saying deadbeat or this or that and start criticizing
yeah,
him, I go through it too. People don't have, from that clip or a post or something, that people really don't have no idea what
yeah,
goes on behind the scenes, or what
yeah,
goes on in some people's life.
yeah,
People will sit there all day and argue with me about my life and don't really be realizing who they talking to.
yeah, yeah.
You talking to someone that's living it.
No question.
So for what you see on social media, or what you might get, a 15-second clip or more 2-minute clip on reality TV, that's what a lot of that stuff probably got edited. You don't know. You can't base your opinion and be gun ho in your opinion for something you've seen in 2 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, for me, to be honest with you, you know, I've always had a good relationship with Nick. When I first came home, we spoke. And, you know, he's always been the type of guy that if he has the bandwidth to offer you any type of support or whatever the case may be, I think people seen through the whole situation with Wilding Out and all that how loyal he is to the people he work with, how loyal the people he work with is to him. So he definitely, by far, without a shadow of doubt, is an amazing person. You know what I'm saying? Amazing person, good guy. And like yourself, I believe that he's smart. I believe that he has a plan. You know, when I came home, I spoke to him briefly. He immediately offered, you know, whatever bandwidth he had, whatever support he could offer, you know. And I think I appreciate him more now that he live in Harlem. You know what I'm
Oh, he
saying?
do?
Yeah, he definitely got the office in Harlem and
Oh,
all
that's
that. So
dope.
yeah.
That's fire.
So with that being said, I know that he's smart. That's not a question. I know that he's smart. I know that he has a plan. You know, but as a father, I think my only pushback would be the state of euphoria that you feel first thing in the morning when your children, your little children, climb up in the bed, you know, with you and your wife, they father, they mother, and just that sense of comfort that they need first thing in the morning. Like my kids, when they wake up, first thing they do is beeline from their room, maybe use the bathroom first or whatever, then straight out of there, they come straight in our room. Or they come straight from their room,
My
straight
kid
in
do
my room.
that. My kids do that every single
Yeah,
day. So
and that's
I
the
know.
only
And in the
thing.
middle of the night while we sleep, somebody's squeezing their way in the bed.
Yeah, and that's the only thing I could say.
But how? So I can't even use that, right? Because we don't know
Nah,
if
I
he's
don't know.
doing that,
I
right?
don't know.
Because
I don't know. I'm
he
just saying,
they
like,
in that what you call that relationship,
polygamy.
polygamy
Yeah,
relationship where he's allowed to have multiple girlfriends, and
yeah.
and he's probably giving everybody that experience, and
Well, listen, if
because
he listen, as
you
smart
don't
as
know
he
what
is,
the agreement is. You
yeah,
know what I'm
but that's the
saying?
bro and everything. But if he could duplicate that 10 times, 9 times, I don't know the count. You know what I'm saying? I haven't really been micromanaging the children that he's brought in this world, but I do know he's an amazing guy. I know he's a good guy. I know that he has a plan. I'm pretty sure whatever he's arranged with the mother of his children is
Right.
something that's agreeable all across the board. But I'm just saying to simulate that, you know what I'm saying, that many times, especially with all of the businesses and things he got
Hmm.
going on. If he pull that off, I would definitely. He would be the goat.
Right.
Like he would definitely be the goat.
But you know what we should be celebrating too,
Hmm.
right? And most guys have kids with women that they don't even know, they
Yeah,
don't love, and according to how the relationship go with the woman is how they treat the kid,
yeah,
right? Either they active in the kid's life or they not active in the kid life. The fact that you find any man, and not just him, we just talking about any
yeah,
man, and even as far as stepdads too, that take part in children's life as far as their development, their growth, um, mentally, spiritually, and being involved, for me, deserve a reward,
yeah.
and because, yeah, we might, people break up every day. Women, men
Yeah,
don't really
I
see
think,
eye to
yeah.
eye.
No,
You know
I
what I'm
think
saying?
society
But we
tried.
drive over there, pick the kid up,
Yeah,
take him to the basketball court, shoot some hoops with him, and
yeah,
teach him how to ride a bike. Yo, applaud that man for that.
yeah. Nah, I
As a
agree.
father, as a stepfather, as an uncle, as just
As a
someone
man,
in that kid's life.
yeah, as a man.
So if he don't get the kids, don't get the chance to crawl on the bed, but he still make it over there. Come on,
Nah, definitely,
I would tell society to focus on the positive things, right?
absolutely.
Because they so quick to tear you down
Yeah,
for the smallest small. It's like, damn, ain't nobody's perfect.
yeah,
And people should have that freedom to live the life they want to live,
yeah,
not the life we want them to live,
yeah.
but the life they want to live.
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree. I
So if
just know
Nick
as a
want to have
father.
1,000 babies, my
Yeah,
nigga, you got the money. Go have it. Is a
yeah.
thousand is 1 million beautiful women out there that's waiting to be
Oh yeah,
impregnate.
yeah.
Like shit, nigga. I mean, excuse me, I don't say that. I salute you.
Yeah, nah. I
Let
agree.
us
I
let
agree.
matter of fact, let's do the TV show about it.
Yeah, no question.
Right?
That'd
I
be
want to see that show. That's probably
yeah.
very because you're dealing with all them personalities. Ooh, I can
Yeah.
mentally. Oh my God, I wouldn't know. Shit
That's
is
why I said if
hard.
you can simulate
Mentally,
that. That's why I
oh
said if
my
you can
God,
simulate that amount of time.
he gonna need a therapist. You if
Yeah.
you know, dealing with so many personalities, you're gonna need their mental health is can be, at jeopardy at some point. At some point of the day.
Well, I'm rooting for him. I hope that whatever his circumstances is, I hope it not only benefits him, benefits the mothers, but more importantly, I hope it benefits the children. 'Cause like I said, it's just certain things being in that business that I used to be in. I missed my son training wheels come off. I was on tour. I came back, he was riding a bike. It was certain things that I'll never get back. So now that I'm in a more stable situation, just the euphoria of waking up every day in the same house, you know what I'm saying, having my children present, you know what I'm saying, interacting. I eat dinner at the table every night with my family if I'm not, you know, jacking off on the PlayStation or whatever. I always like try to take advantage of those moments, you know what I'm saying, as a family, collectively, us bonding. Because this is how I get to know what's going on in their life. You know what I'm
Right
saying?
now,
The dinner
that's
table,
super dope.
yeah, I can go right across and say, how was school? How was this? How was that? And it's like everybody's honest because all the witnesses in the house is there.
Right,
You know what I'm saying? It's not like a one-on-one where you might tell me something but allude to tell your moms, or you might talk to your moms but fail to tell
right.
me. When you're at the dinner table and any question you ask, it's like, man, how you gonna ask me that at the table? Because now
Now
everybody's present.
you put his business on Front Street.
Yes, yeah. So fatherhood is dope. You know what I'm saying? And I think that I wanted my next question, and kind of gonna get to the end of this interview, which has been amazing because this is just a prerequisite of many conversations that
Right.
we've had. And I think more men should have these conversations because we can extract things from each other in order to be better men, in order to be better fathers. But for as a kid out there, there's a kid out there that used to live the same life or, had the same circumstances as Mendeecees Harris, the same circumstances as Amir. And what would be your message to that kid who's right now trying to make sense of not having a father, maybe not having a mother, maybe not having a mother or a father, you know what I'm saying, which we both experienced? What would be your message to that kid?
I would think like for number one, don't lose hope. Don't think is something out there that you can't do. Don't think you have options. You have plenty of options. Start looking for some role models, some mentors, because it's good examples out there. It's great examples out there, and if you can't find them, you're looking in the wrong place, right? You need to change your scenery, and just don't. It's gonna happen. You today, you could be anything you want to be. The information is out there. Most if you got a smartphone, you got the key already. Not everything you find on the internet is going to be true, but it's a start, and you just got to keep doing your homework and keep digging and keep digging and keep digging till you scratch the surface, and you can pretty much shape and mold the life you want to live.
My advice to that kid would be that anything that is divinely decreed by God is not by mistake. So if it's been decreed that your parents is not present in your life, start with loving the one who truly loves those that he create with purpose. You know what I'm saying? All of us are created with purpose. And I think that for that kid, he should definitely establish a relationship with his creator. That's first. Secondly, those that are present that are making an effort to love you, love them back. You know what I'm saying? Even though that biological void might not be filled, but if love is present, show gratitude, appreciation for the love that's there, and love them the way you would love your father or your mother if they were present. Because my grandparents raised me. And any adult that chooses to step up in the place of those parents that are missing, don't give them a hard time acting out the emotions that fester in your heart because of the absence of your mother or your father. Start with loving those who make an attempt to love you. Even if it's not the way that you want it, even if it's not the scripted way you would like to see it, but if love is present, try to love those who make an attempt to love you. Also, those kids that may see teachers in school, other adults in the community, anywhere that love is being genuinely given, take it, hold on to it, appreciate it, and try to make use of it. Because to run around feeling like you've been rejected by those who've been entrusted with the responsibility of your welfare doesn't mean that there's not another person out there in the world that's willing to fill that void. So to add to your point, don't give up hope. Don't allow yourself to be consumed by the choices that adults make to abandon their posts, and hang with people who have genuine good intentions and have your best interests. So when you mentioned about mentorship, and there are some great examples out there, align yourself with people who have your best interests and align yourself with people who are growing and evolving. Don't fall victim to dealing with people who are stagnated, running in place, not making any sense of anything that they say or do. Stay away from these people. Try to align yourself with good people, and may Allah guide you and rectify your affairs. Assalamu alaikum, this is your brother Amir, and right now you tuned in to the current perspective. Now, the current perspective is another portion of the Perspective podcast. It's basically when I discuss certain events that's viral on social media, widespread throughout the nation, whether it be barbershop talk, beauty salon gossip, whatever it is that impacts the culture or even the world. I like to give my perspective. Now, normally, I do this on my own. But right now, I got a very, very special guest, my boy Mendeecees Harris. We just had an amazing interview. And right now, we're going to talk about the events revolved around the Montgomery Riverfront Brawl. So I'm going to let you take off because, we was talking about this, and it's like there's a lot of things you could take away from this. You know what I'm saying? First and foremost, the whole viral aspect of it is it becomes a very celebratory moment where finally you see, black people unite and stand together against oppression. And it's an amazing thing, you know what I'm saying, to see what unity can bring about, especially in times of adversity. So for those that don't really know the details, a lot of stuff is lingering. But from my understanding, it was a black security guard that was working, the docks, and he asked these white folks to move their boat. So I believe another ship or a steamboat was supposed to come and dock in that particular space. So instead of respecting the man, respecting his position, respecting the fact that he has a job,
Respecting his authority.
respecting his authority. That is definitely key. Did not respect the man's authority. It took it upon themselves, to exercise white privilege and all of these things that we know are widespread in this particular country. But with that being said, once they commenced to assaulting a man, now the thing that did it for me was the dude that jumped in.
Yeah, he started swimming in the water,
swam
right?
about 50
Yeah.
yards, yo. The man swam
Yeah,
about
listen.
50 yards. I'm talking about
He listen,
came straight out the water.
he was getting across. He was getting
He
over
was
there.
definitely getting his point across. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? And I think that it was one of those moments when the hunted became, the hunter became the hunted, the oppressor became the oppressed, the suspect became the victim,
Right.
And it was definitely a turn of events that gave a lot of people, this state, this feeling that, yeah, that was a justified, good old fashioned,
But I think people got too excited, right? And I love to see the unity, right? And I just think, when you start to see the woman get hit in the head with the chair, I think it was, it was too much rage
Yeah,
going on, right? And that part right there, I was like, wow, because
yeah.
it's going a whole different direction. That's a different tone right there,
Well, that's the
you know.
thing. I mean, when you look at the years of oppression for black people in this country and just the, disproportion, the disenfranchisement, all of the things that we know that we bottled in and carried for so many years, I think that a lot of people were able to extract some relief from, that anger, that
Yeah, but see,
frustration being dealt
but
out.
what I thought about that frustration, I thought about you can clearly see the police grabbed him as soon as he did it. So behind his actions is he's gonna get, and I felt retaliated when it's time to face in court, right? When
Yeah.
when it's time to go to the government, because they probably, with all this stuff, probably get thrown out. But when you take it this step further, then now it become a bigger issue. And not only him, it's still a woman, right?
Yeah,
So
I
we
mean,
we was it's still a woman, so they might not see it how other people perceive it, right? And they may say, okay, we probably ain't have a problem with you breaking it up, or even the fight, whatever, but you hit a woman in the head with a chair.
all
Now, if
right.
he had hit one of the men in the head, then probably would have been a different story, because they deserve that,
My thing is
right?
this: first and foremost, I don't condone senseless violence. I just want
Right.
people to understand, like, and some people may think that's rich coming from me because of my past and my background prior to me becoming Muslim. But I've learned the value of you know life, and my takeaway is this. And I'm just going to be upfront in this particular setting. Yes, it was definitely appropriate for black people to see this situation unfolding and not sit there and be
Yeah, I agree
another
with you
witness to another, yeah,
1000%.
to another, act of oppression. But the thing is, we have so many different battles we need to fight on so many different levels. And I think the sad part about this situation is that if there isn't any real growth that comes from this incident, what you will see is that we revert back to harming each other for the rest of the month. So the duration of the month of August may consist of a whole lot of black on black crime, us oppressing ourselves and harming each other. But in this particular moment, I hope, rather, that people take away that this form of unity that was forged in this particular incident, this same unity has to be established on all fronts in order for us to grow and evolve as a community, as a culture. And I think that is more, celebrating going on about the fact that, yeah, you finally watch some people who, for a long time, whether it's civilians or police brutality, we watch these people treat us like less than a human being. And to see that reciprocated and acted out in that particular fashion, I believe, yes, there is some justification for why people may feel good about this. But as a people, we have to grow. We have to evolve. And I think that the takeaway, whether the assault was on a woman or whatever case may be, because I'm definitely not with that.
No, I think, and it's not just put the light on the women's. The whole overall situation was like, be seeing people come together, and
Yeah.
give people a taste of their own medicine, because they was jumping them, right?
Yeah,
So
I mean, that's
they
what I say
they
about the
met
unity.
they
The
met
unity is,
they
yeah.
met violence with violence. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
but
So
that's the thing.
and but the real fight I believe, is now is going to be the government, getting out there voting, and
Voting is
and, and
definitely
and and because
maybe,
because what happened is the same people y'all fighting is going to be at the top tier of government officials.
Yeah.
These are ones that's going to be creating these new laws. These are ones that's going to be redlining and zoning where your kids go to school at. These are ones that's going to be bringing the police in your community, in policing your community. So, once you start understanding, that's why it's important to vote. That's why it's important for some of us to get into government and be officials, and starting to be. And I love it when I see, you know, the black and brown mayors and governors, and
Yeah.
people just fighting for these, these
That's what I'm
unprecedented
saying. You got to fight on other
spots.
fronts because you got
Yeah.
socioeconomic, you know what I'm saying, a front that we need to fight on. We got, education, another fight that we need to be on the front line for. We have, this disparity, you know what I'm saying, criminal justice, another thing we need to be fighting for. There's so many different things that we need to take from this and understand the true nature and power of unity because we've been swinging our fists and our knives and guns for so many
Like it's
for,
time.
so
It's
yeah
time to
yeah
swing. It's
yeah
time to
yeah it's time to swing the
that
pen.
pen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that
time
pen.
to swing the
They always
pen.
say the pen is mighty
Exactly.
than a
So
sword.
yeah.
So yeah. Listen, I agree 100%. But I watched that video 1,000 times. I think everybody on my timeline posted that video, and I watched it 1,000 times, and I seen a lot of seen it in a comical way where the guy threw his hat off like Bobby Smurda,
Yeah.
and they was like that was a signal
Yeah.
for the Avengers to come in, and boy did they come.
Yeah.
So it was comical, and it also was seeing people unite. Then it was like a roller coaster of emotions because it became sad too. You know what I'm saying? But it just I can imagine being there because if I was there, I probably wanted to help or do something in an event to you know deal with the unfairness of that act that was happening, to
So
kind of create balance. You
all
know what I'm
right.
saying? So and I can say, damn, it was a fucked up place to be in but you there. We witness it every day, and
Yeah.
it's a lot of people turn a blind eye. These people did not today.
Yeah.
This wasn't a day
Yeah.
that people turned a blind eye,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they met aggression with aggression.
So my bro, this is just probably what many and many
All
conversations we're
right.
gonna be having offline. I
All right.
really truly appreciate you coming through to
Anytime.
the
Listen,
show.
man, anytime you want to do this, I'm always phone call. I'm pretty sure a lot of topics and stuff that comes up, and you can use my voice. Listen, I'm here. I can't wait to share my opinion. Let's do it. Call me
Yeah,
up.
definitely. Because I mean, people don't know you have a lot to offer. You know what I'm saying? You have a lot to offer, and I know what it's like for people to see you only one way. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I hope that this conversation sheds light on who you are as a person, who you are as a father, who you are as a husband, who you are as a businessman, because I honestly believe that for that kid that's out there who doesn't have a role model, you would definitely be suitable as someone that they can take in consideration and learn from. So keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you, my
Appreciate you
brother.
coming through the perspective, sharing your
Anytime. Anytime.
perspective.
Anytime.
And we're gonna do this again.
Right. Right.
Definitely. So check this out. Current perspective, I want to leave y'all with this. It's important to understand that what took place at the Montgomery Riverfront Brawl, there's a lot of things to take away from that. A lot of our children that's witnessing this video going viral is something that has to be explained to them. Because if we allow all the memes and all of the things dictate the lesson that comes from this, only thing we're going to have is more people wanting to partake in unified efforts to combat oppression with violence. We have to teach our kids that this particular situation called for a certain type of assertment that resulted in, as my partner said, violence meeting violence. But when the smoke clears, let it be known that there's several other fronts that we need to be uniting on, several other fronts that we need to be fighting for. And one is the next generation of children who will not interpret some of these acts as something that is just in a unified effort to increase the welfare and benefit of our communities. It's your brother Amir and my guest Mendeecees Harris. This is the current perspective. Like, share, subscribe, but most importantly, I need you to comment. Let me know what's your thoughts. Barakallahu feek.